Hi, thanks for watching my video. For anyone new to my channel, my name is Francesca Moresi and I am a psychotherapist. Today, I'd like to talk to you about communication. Communication is something we all use every day in various ways, and how we communicate can be essential to the success of our relationships and many other aspects of our life. It often seems something simple because we communicate all the time and therefore we assume that we do it well. And we do not stop to consider how we communicate. Unless, of course, this becomes a real problem. In this video, we will look at the basics. What communication is, what's the process underneath communication, and why healthy communication is so important for well-being. On a personal note, I experienced firsthand the benefits of improving my communication with people. One of the main goals of my personal development has been finding my voice and learning how to express myself better. I know how hard it is when you don't feel understood, or when you feel as though you never say the right thing, or even what it feels like when you would just want to express yourself, but for some reason you can't and you remain quiet and frustrated. Also, working with my clients, I got to realize that it wasn't just me. Many people unfortunately don't know how to communicate in a healthy and satisfactory way. Whether it is an intimate, platonic, or professional relationship, communication is one of the main difficulties which come up repeatedly. Although we use communication every day, it's common for people to not understand what happens when they communicate, or even what their own communication style actually is. Is this something that you can relate to? I would love to hear about your experience. I know for sure this was my experience, and here I am making a series of videos about communication because I believe that this can actually bring better relationships amongst all of us and can help each of us feel better in our skin. So, the basics. The process of communication refers to the exchange of information between two people or more. Communication can be verbal, meaning that we use words, as well as nonverbal, like, for example, the body language, the tone of voice, the distance between the people talking. Also, communication can either be oral or written. Effective communication is when the message conveyed by the sender is understood by the receiver in exactly the same way as it was intended. Which, believe me, is something rather difficult because there are many barriers that stand in the way. If the flow of information is blocked or the parties cannot make themselves understood, then communication fails. Consider how many things happen when we, for example, speak to another person. The process starts when we think about what we want to say, and our brain goes through a process called encoding, which adapts the information in a way that can be understood by the other person. We then share this information by speaking to someone, let's say face to face. This information is then received by the other person, and they begin to process this and develop their own understanding of our words. This process is normally known as decoding. Communication is in fact a two-way process. Each person has their own personal beliefs and experiences which may influence the way they translate our message. Just as much, our own beliefs and experiences have influenced the way we encoded the message. Once our words have been received by the other person, feedback is then the ultimate aspect of this dynamic process. Feedback is necessary to ensure that the message has been effectively comprehended, and it could be verbal or nonverbal, like a nod or a smile. So, what is it that could go wrong in this process. The message can often be disrupted by a variety of communication barriers. Some of them are very practical, such as noise or distractions in the environment, or a poor telephone connection, or maybe, a faulty mail system, or using a second language. But more importantly, there is a personal, social, and cultural aspect to consider, like prejudice obstructing the understanding of a message, or gestures or postures that may distort the message. Your beliefs and your emotions have a strong role in how you send and receive information, impacting your ability to send a clear message or to understand a message sent by someone else correctly. All right, lots of words. Why don't I try to make my message to you more clear with an example? Let's imagine that I had a really bad night and I'm really tired. I'm late for work and outside is raining. When I finally manage to get to the office, I'm soaking wet and I ask my colleague, "Do you want to go and have a coffee with me?" She does not even look at me, and whilst continue typing on her computer, she says, "No thanks." I am outraged. I decode that message as rude, avoidant, and dismissive. By all means, I don't talk to her for the next 4 hours. Neither does she, until before lunch. She very calmly comes to my desk and suggests that we go for lunch together, given that she couldn't come for coffee in the morning because she had an important deadline at noon. Now, in this example, my colleague was so focused on her work that this made her communication very essential, but less effective because she didn't make eye contact and she didn't notice my state of being. On top of that, I misinterpreted it because I was very emotional and my expectations and feelings got in the way. As a result, I spent 4 hours stewing for no reason. You can see how easy it is to be affected in our communication and how this can actually lead to a conflict. We will focus on this in other videos, but now that hopefully we understand what is happening when we communicate, let's talk a little bit about why it is so important for us to do this in a healthy way. Well, one reason which I believe is perhaps one of the most important things we gain by good communication is to build strong and healthy connections. Social connections are fundamental human need, and the ability to connect is essential for everyone. In fact, research has shown that it doesn't only significantly improve psychological well-being by allowing us to combat isolation and conflict, but improves physical well-being as well. Communication is also key to create clarity and understanding with each other, to allow us to have positive emotions and experiences when we interact together. Think about the last conversation you had where you walked away feeling happy and positive. Chances are the reason for this is because the communication between yourself and the other person was sent and received in a way which was clear and didn't leave room for misunderstanding. When this type of clear communication happens between two people, for example, two people in a relationship, it also aids in the breaking down of barriers. To explain, let's think about a game of cards. If you are playing your cards close to your chest, you're putting a barrier between you and the other player. But if you show your hand, you are being open and honest, and you are taking the barrier down. The same goes for when you communicate. This type of communication is vital in intimate physical relationships between couples, as well as with your friends or people in your family. It is also important to remember that good communication isn't only when you are able to express your own thoughts, feelings, and expectations. It also means that you can listen and reflect when others speak to you. Actually, people often rate themselves as being better listeners than they really are. And I'm sure we have all been in a situation where we have only half listened to what another person is telling us, myself included for sure. By listening to truly understand what the other person is saying, rather than just to respond, it helps you make sure you refrain from making judgments and assumptions and can reflect on the right information. Also, by properly listening when someone else speaks, it conveys the message to them that we care about what they have to say, which again breaks down barriers and allows us to make that connection with them. Thank you for watching my video today. I hope that this has been helpful. If you would like to learn more about this or have any questions, please let me know here in the comments. You can also subscribe to my channel here on YouTube or follow me on Instagram at Francesca Moresi Psychotherapy to see more. Thank you.